A former police officer convicted of murdering a 15-year-old boy wants his murder conviction overturned. Attorneys for former Balch Springs officer Roy Oliver filed appeal paperwork late this week. Oliver is serving 15 years in prison for shooting Jordan Edwards in 2017. And Fox 4's Blake Hansen is at the Frank Crowley Courthouse with more on Oliver's appeal. Blake.
And Steve, this appeal claims that mistakes were made during several different aspects of the investigation and the trial. Oliver's attorneys are particularly focused on how their client was interviewed and how that information might have been used during the trial.
We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant guilty of murder.
When the verdict came down, it was not the end of the legal battle for fired Balch Springs officer Roy Oliver. An appeal now seeks to overturn his conviction for murdering 15-year-old Jordan Edwards. Edwards was a passenger in a car leaving a party police were breaking up in April of 2017. The car did not stop at Balch Springs officer's commands, and Oliver fired his rifle, killing Edwards, claiming he feared for the life of a fellow officer. Among other issues, lawyers for Oliver say some of what he told investigators immediately after the shooting is protected by law and should not have been used against him. It says Oliver was warned before making these statements he could lose his job if he did not talk. Thus, appellant was protected by blanket immunity, and says the trial court should have suppressed that. The indictment should have been dismissed. Chad Ruback, an appellate attorney not involved in this case, says winning an appeal is tough.
Statistically, that's not terribly likely. The vast majority of appeals are unsuccessful. Yeah. That's murder cases, that's DWIs, any sort of appeal. The odds are stacked against you when you lose in the trial court.
Ruback says lawyers also have to prove more than just that a mistake was made.
Mr. Oliver in this case is going to need to show that not only did the trial court judge fail to follow the law, but that failure to follow the law, that big mistake, impacted the outcome of the case. It's going to be tough.
The news of an appeal is no surprise, but still tough for the Edwards family. Attorney Darrell Washington represents the family in a civil lawsuit filed against Oliver and the city of Balch Springs.
It's very painful. Anytime they just hear the name Roy Oliver, that brings nightmares, that brings visions of this entire incident all over again.
The murder conviction of an off-duty officer was just the third in the U.S. since 2005. Washington is confident it will stay a conviction.
I feel pretty comfortable from that standpoint that I don't see anything that's going to happen that should be reversed.
Now, that officer conviction information is from a Bowling Green State University study. I did speak with Oliver's attorneys over the phone today, but they were not available to speak on camera. As for what's next in this, the district attorney's office would have about 30 days to respond to this brief, and then this would likely go to oral arguments before the appellate panel sometime over the next several months.